So just finished my morning nap and spent some time with was able to spend some time with my little guy and my wife, which was fun. He's a bit of a tricky sleeper for his afternoon nap, so we're gonna go run over to the gym right now. Jesus. We're gonna head to the gym. Today is pull day. So it's gonna be lat pull downs. I think I talked about this in my last clip. Close this so you can hear me. We're gonna do pull downs, rows. Probably, I was mentioning I want to add in like a free weight, so either some kind of a dumbbell or bent over rows with a barbell maybe. Back flies and biceps. Those last two will be, again, whatever kind of machines available for those exercises. I really hope my headphones are in here. And then I gotta go back home and we gotta set up some meal prep for tonight. So kind of what I always do for meals at work is usually ground beef. So I'll buy like extra lean ground beef, cook it, and get most of the grease off. Anyways, I already have all that stuff prepped. What I wanted to talk about today was why am I trying to pursue YouTube as a venue for improving my interview skills or interpersonal skills. And I don't know, I said this is still kind of going to be a trial thing. I don't know if it's going to be the best option. My hope is that just by talking and working on getting my thoughts out in a verbal venue. My idea is that being able to think of things I want to talk about and getting them out verbally is something I really wanted to work on. So if I kind of force myself to do it in this this media format, A, I can review it, and then B, also, if I get a bunch of comments that says, oh, we don't know what the hell you're talking about, or nothing makes sense, or things like that, obviously I'm not effectively getting what I'm trying to say across. Again, I don't really know if this is going to work, but if really it's better than doing nothing, in my opinion. There are other methods. I'm sure, I could just do audio recordings and listen back and do it that way. But for me, I've always had this interest in YouTube, recording videos, photography, video editing, stuff like that. Ever since, I was, I can remember being like a teenager and watching some of the first YouTube videos that came out, or very early things. Julian Smith was a big one I watched a lot of, and I always saw his content was funny, and kind of always had an aspiration to want to do something similar. So it's my way of, I guess, checking off two things with one excuse to go that route, I guess. Killing two birds with one stone. I get to have an excuse to record videos and work on video editing, and then hopefully also improve my communication skills. Again, a lot of this early content is going to be mismatched and not probably have a very cohesive layout. I'm really working on, I've spent hours and hours going over, video plans and script ideas and shots and how am I gonna, put these together. And it still, I record stuff and then I delete it and then I record stuff and I say this is gonna be my first video and I never end up actually going through it. So I'm hoping this stuff will actually stick now, and I feel like I've gone. So this is future editor Andrew. I don't know if I can get that guy. Anyways, camera died, and I think I turned my microphone off in this shot, or I think the microphone was hooked up to the camera on this shot. Anyways, it died. That's why it just cut off like that. It's going to continue on now. After this will be when I get back from my night shift after work. So still getting the ropes with these, charging your camera and stuff like that. So hence the skip in the video. All right. Sorry. That's the second night shift done. If it wasn't very clear from the last clip, I think it was right before I was heading into the gym. I still don't really know what I'm doing with these videos. I think it cut out I don't know why I cleared my SD card for the camera, but it still was saying that there wasn't any room on the card. Anyways, I reformatted it. Seems fine now. So what I was talking about before the camera cut out was, why YouTube, or why do I think this is a appropriate platform? And I think I just talked briefly about how, growing up and kind of like the development of YouTube, or, when it first came out, it was, neat to see all these individuals make YouTube videos with their friends. Like I said, one of the big ones I used to watch a lot was a creator named Julian Smith. And he always used to make short skits and, I don't want to call them they're more like comedic music videos, I guess you could say. But, it was always, I found interesting to see people, use whatever, devices they had to record their content, group of friends, and, be able to make some pretty high quality stuff that was entertaining to watch. This would have been back when I was still in high school, going into college. I never really, took the dive. It was always something I talk about with a few of my friends. I did get into streaming a little bit. Obviously a little bit of a different production kind of workflow. But, video editing, photography, stuff like that has always really interested me. So I thought, if I was going to go down this route where I was in some fashion recording conversations or recording what I was saying, or trying to work on, formulating a conversation or a monologue, if you will, from a thought, it's a good enough excuse to start, getting back into some video editing and stuff that I did in a university course. So that's why I'm picking YouTube. I don't really expect this to be a huge success on a viewer count thing or anything like that. It's not really my goal with this. I want to try and keep a regular schedule with my releases and updates, more so I can keep track of what I'm doing, and if anyone is following along, then it kind of keeps it like a regular routine. So yeah, that's kind of my update for that. Do I think I have anything to share that's really worth sharing? I mean, if healthcare interests you, then, or if you're into education or you're applying to med school or post-secondary, education courses or programs, there might be some discussions or some things I'm going through that could be helpful. If, paramedicine interests you, there could be some discussions that we have that might be interesting. I've been doing it for over 10 years. I like to think that I have a pretty decent idea of this world of healthcare. I mean, it's pretty unique to Ontario in Canada. So, I mean, when you look at paramedicine, it varies quite a bit from, country to country and even province to province within Canada. So, not everything's going to relate 100%, but there could be some interesting bits in there. Like I mentioned in the first video, the fitness part of this, probably not going to be the highlight of anyone's viewing experience. Like I said, I'm not the image of a highly disciplined weight trainer or anything like that. I definitely, could improve in that department a bit. But, I think there's something to be said, too, about the reality of, living, having multiple jobs, kids at home, a wife, and trying to find that balance between all those aspects of your life and your wants and needs for work and stuff like that. So I think it's, if anything, it'd be a realistic journey for fitness, from my view anyways, like I said, with my availability and time constraints. So if that's something that's interesting, then that's great. I hopefully find it somewhat informative or interesting at the very least. And like I said in my last video, if it's not for you, then that's okay too. I mean, there's so much content now that it's like, how do you really make anything unique anymore? So for me, it's primarily about working on just getting words out and getting my making my thoughts a little more cohesive, and instead of having sporadic ideas, I guess you could say. So that's all really for my spiel for this little chat. Just gonna try and get some sleep in, and I'll probably see you in a few hours when I'm getting ready for the gym, and hopefully the camera doesn't die again. Okay, see you in the next one.